Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael. Now, today this is episode 7 of my Let's Play series, and I haven't officially named the park, but I am going to go with Three Towers, and that was a name that was given back in episode, I believe, 2 or 3 by none other than Iron Matty, and he said because of the three towers here at the entrance. Plus, you could also make an argument with my three main pathways that I'm kind of approaching this park as. So, yeah, that's the way I'm going to name the park because I'm just terrible with names. So I appreciate it, Maddie. And as you can kind of see an overview of some things that are definitely different after last Friday's update. And the first thing I want to talk about is this underground tunnel that I have for my employees. And last week in the middle of me filming, I realized that I had enough space over here where I could actually have the tunnel go all the way through. So I decided to try to do that just because I thought that was going to be really cool. And you can see that I've just kind of got the path kind of going off the map a little bit because I just hate in this game how the map just ends and there's no there's literally nothing beyond, and it's just kind of, I don't know, Planet Zoo does a much better job from what I've seen with the terrain and how it looks beyond the borders of the park or the map. But as you can see here, we have a tunnel going all the way through now. And there's still a couple things that I need to do to kind of fill it out in terms of making it really complete. Like I want to put a couple things over here. But as you can see, this is where the employees would go. They drive underneath here, then they come up. And so that's not for trucks or anything like that. That's just for the park employees who will park in this spot of the parking lot. And it's kind of separated and divided from the rest. And so I really, really like that. One thing I want to say with this is this was incredibly difficult. And by incredibly difficult, I just mean it was really tedious in terms of having to smooth everything out and get the terrain gone underneath here, get it gone. That's not not the correct way to phrase it, but you know what I'm trying to say. But also keeping the terrain on top. And as you can see, this is a little bit, this kind of entry part right here, that cement's a little bit further down than I would have liked. But if you look right here, you can see kind of what I had to do with moving out the terrain. But look at that. That is, I think that's a 1 meter wall piece. I can't remember what piece I used right there. Let me take the HUD off. Yeah, so that's just a thick wooden beam, 8 meters. So like those are not that large in terms of compared to this. So you can see how it is literally like razor thin. There is barely any terrain left. And so if I were to take this terrain tool and I were to go flatten the foundation right there, actually that actually didn't do what I was trying to do. But if I take this, and so the idea was I was trying to kind of flatten stuff out, right? And so now you see what I did? That eliminated everything, right? And so it was very tricky so I kept having to try to flatten the terrain, all this different stuff, but it works out. Like I said, I wish this wasn't quite as large, but that's just kind of what I had to do for as low as I had the tarmac going. But yeah, really happy with how this part turned out. And then the other part right here, Iron Matty and Corey from Web Gaming suggested with the handicapped parking area that I make signs and give the parking spaces more space. So as you can see, because I just honestly just never really even took notice of it before, but as you can see, which now I notice there's the back part there, but you don't see it on those. And you don't see it on those. Okay, I'm going to have to fix a couple things just to make it unison. But as you can see, this is actually more decked out now. So you can kind of see there's more space. There's less parking spots. But I just used the square art piece here and then some of the other symbols to kind of create a makeshift wheelchair sign or handicap sign. And so, yeah, love how this turns out. And so if you're in here and you park, you can't see the employee parking. You know, you can barely see over into the park and stuff, but you're also separated to where, you know, you just kind of got to go this way to get to the normal park. Now, I still need to work on this because I do kind of want to make a bus stop here. So I think that'd be kind of cool to have, and a couple bus parking spots. Yeah, so it's looking good. And now as we come into the park, and you know, I might move this at some point because this is the one thing in the park that I didn't actually make. This was a centerpiece that came in the game. Oh, sprinklers. So who knows? Might keep it, might change it. You know, you got the turnstiles. And now, with a nod to all of Jasmine and I's UK friends, I named this pushchair instead of strollers. And it's the same pushchairs that I used on Canyon Valley. I just colored them differently. But the more that I've heard you guys use the term pushchair, I like it more than strollers. I think it sounds cooler, sounds better. It makes more sense because I guess it's a chair that somebody's sitting in that you're pushing. But I guess chairs normally don't have wheels though. But as you can see, just use kind of a lot of the same signage and stuff. And as you come in, there's still a couple little things I need to do in here. Like I need to put some ventilation, some air vents. Need to put a couple more signs up. Like this is going to be where they drop off the strollers. And then this is where they pick up the strollers. And then over here, we've got locker rentals, you know, cash only, card only. And these lockers were created by, well, I guess there's two things in the park I didn't make. This one is created by Tommy P. And I was going to create my own lockers, but then I remember that I had downloaded these, so I was looking at his as reference, and I was just like, no, these are just too good. I'm just gonna end up using these. And so they look fantastic. And as you can see at nighttime, I tried to keep the same flooring as in the other part of the park, or the other kind of entry side over there. So you can kind of see it all lit up as well. So I still need to do more lighting. I feel like lighting is one of the things I always forget to do. And I love using these and just pushing them into the wall a little bit. Because I think before I had some of them hanging like this, but if you just push it into the wall, it really looks like recessed lighting. And then what I normally do too with the color of it is I make it kind of, instead of making it bright, like sometimes, you know, if you do the very bright white, it's almost too light. So if you make it a more of a gray, it kind of dims it just a little bit more. Yellow, whoop. Or you could do any color you want. But yeah, I love these area lights. So I think that looks good. And this was the area that I didn't have them as pushed into the wall. So as you can kind of see, this one needs to, let's see. Oops, sorry, I'm not controlling the camera well. There we go. Yeah, I need to push this one a little bit further up. I guess I don't have to, but I'm just noticing that. So I like it when you can't really see any of the black. So there we go. But yeah, so those were hanging out of the wall more, so I decided to go ahead and fix that. And then, like I said, just need to kind of light up this area. So the main difference now in the park is I've started decorating this area a lot more. And so I think it looks really cool as you're walking up to the ride. So let me get the HUD back off the screen. So as you're walking down the path and you see this massive Cobra roll on this Boomerang coaster, which Boomerang coasters are terrible in real life, but I haven't built one yet in the game, and I thought, you know, it doesn't take up too much of the counter, and it's a good visual at the front of the park, and they're normally near the front of the park. But yeah, I need to put a fence here, but I decided to kind of do this fencing border, this kind of two-layered fencing with hedges, and I got the idea from, oh man, I forgot his name. I think it's Deke FW, something like that on YouTube. Hasn't made videos in a while, but he had the series a couple years ago called Cedar Falls, I think, Cedar Valley, something like that. And he kind of had this idea, but I think it looks really cool because especially when you're down at guest level, it really hides a lot of the stuff, right? Like you can't see anything there. So when you're in the queue, all you're seeing is the coaster and you're seeing the massive supports, and like that looks really cool. So I did lower it down to where I was going to put benches in the wall, but I just didn't like how it looked because it was right at the height where it was closer to the guest head, and I just didn't like how that looked. So if we go this way, actually, you know what? We'll go up the queue, and then we'll look at what I did on the ride afterwards. And so yeah, with this station, normally when I start with the station, I don't really know or have an expectation of what it's going to look like. I just kind of start somewhere and see where it takes me. And so I decided to kind of do something more boxy here. And as you can see, I've got kind of the lights on the side. So at night, I've actually hidden lights underneath, but those are supposed to kind of give the illusion that that's giving off the light. Because I don't like not having lights somewhere and then hiding lights, because it just kind of, I don't know, to me it's not that realistic, right? But yeah, so I kind of had the idea of just having this roof being glass, because I like the fact of you can be in here and you kind of look up and you're still seeing the sky and everything like that. Even in here, I mean, you can look up and see to the top of the hill. And with the coloring, I kind of got the inspiration idea from, I know when Moomin Little Socks did his Boomerang coaster on his Very British Park, and I've seen a couple other people do this as well, they kind of have that blue kind of wood siding as a part of it, but obviously I didn't want to do the exact same thing and have an open station, so I kind of took part of that idea as the coloring component of it, and it matched and went along with the blue and white of the coaster. And I originally had those iron girders black, but I decided to change them to kind of whitish gray, so I think it works better with the ride. So, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, on the station. What are your guys' thoughts? Love it, hate it, any suggestions? I like to hear everybody's opinion. So if we go back up this way, you can see the carousel and or the swinging swings and small carousel over there. And then this part is, I need to put a gate here for like the backstage, because as far as I know, Boomerangs don't have a transfer track. But there is obviously got to be a backstage area, and I built these custom stairs. And I started by building, because Coaster Creations recommended that I build a custom support here, because there was no support at the Cobra Roll, which isn't realistic, right? You need some kind of support there. So I started with this bar going across, and then one on the end where you have the vertical supports and then the diagonal supports, which I thought gave it kind of a really cool look like that, especially from afar, like when we were looking before down here. I think that's really cool to look up and see that. Well, then I wanted to create an evacuation area, just in case if the train stalled, or I guess not stalled, if it valleyed. You got to have a way to get off the guest, and so it would stall right here, and so I created this walkway. And originally I had the I can't speak right now, the stairs over here, but the issue was, as you can kind of see down here, it came out literally right at the support, and I can't just delete this one support, because this can delete all of this really cool kind of extra supports, which was part of the reason why I built this coaster and have it the way it is. So I decided to shift it over just a little bit, so it's not quite symmetrical on this side as it is on that side, but it's all good. And then I just still created this other vertical support so that it would look realistic from that standpoint. So I'm trying to get better with custom supports, and if you remember, I did the custom supports over here for this Intamin Megalite, and love how this turned out. I think this part could have turned out a little bit better probably, which, by the way, I added an extra one here because Coaster Creations also recommended I had some kind of support in the middle. But I love how this part turned out. I got the inspiration from Intimidator 305, and it's not exactly like it was just missing kind of the spine going up, but same thing here, just trying to get a little bit more advanced with certain areas and try to do a couple things better. So I love how that aspect of the coasters turned out, and especially when you're down here. I mean, those are pretty steep stairs, but it looks cool, it looks believable. And all I did was I used, is this curb? No, that's the thick wooden beam, 2 meters. And then I've got a 2-meter wooden post there. And then I got the road sign pole. So all I did was I made about 3 of them, of the stairs, and then grouped them, copied them, moved them up, grouped all 6, and kept doing that. And then I did the same thing with the post and put the pole through the post. So worked out pretty well. And then the last thing that I've been working on, not done with it yet, is a food area. And so I don't want to place any ceiling tiles down to mask this because I do want to have kind of this unique kind of look to it. But I'm just going to kind of hide these areas with trees, with different things. And so I want to have seating in here, seating kind of going across here. And so, yeah, I'm also, one thing, I did this to kind of hide the grass in those areas. What are your thoughts on this? Should I get rid of this? Should I do something else? Because I'm up for suggestions on that. So I think it's okay. It's not anything great that really stands out to me. I was just trying to hide this green look right here. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. But yeah, I took the concept of this station, but obviously used the wooden roof. So I need to put some signs on here and then use the Victorian tile, but colored it white. And you got a couple staff buildings back there and a couple restrooms. Yeah, and so that is the updates that I've made to the park. Oh, and back here, this coaster you see in the background, this is one I made to potentially go right here, but I got a couple opinions from some people, and it was just too close to the front of the park, too many coasters, too close together. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep this in the park or not. It's not done yet either. It's still a work in progress, as you can see. It takes 3%, but to end the video, let's go ahead and take a ride on it. There's a couple areas that need to be smoothed more, so I will say that, especially the Immelman. But yeah, so it's got all green, which I feel like is pretty good for a dive coaster. And so I'll end the video here. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and suggestions. And as always, I really appreciate your support and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Wow, I said misspoke there. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the POV.